Resident Evil is racist. Yeah, I'm not saying it, but you guys might already be clicking in here. Eric, you're clickbaiting. No, I'm not the one clickbaiting. The gamer is the one clickbaiting because according to them, Resident Evil 5 is too racist for a remake. So Resident Evil 4 remake just came out this last weekend. People are already loving it, clamoring, and they're ready for the next remake, or they're having questions. Well, Resident Evil 5 should be the next one in line unless they go to Code Veronica, but who knows if they're going to do that. But according to this opinion article, Resident Evil 5 is too racist. And yeah, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Some stink more than others. Some I'd like to a little bit. But anyways, Resident Evil 5, too racist. I was like, what? It's always funny how cancel culture and wokeness works. They find the most ridiculous opinion and they run with it. And when you read it, it's like, what? So I have a feeling this is going to be an article that's going to make my head spin. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So this goes ahead and says Resident Evil loves a good remake. Capcom has been trading in the reimaginings of its survival horror series since '02, when the beloved original was brought back to life on the GameCube. Yada, yada, yada. It talks about Resident Evil 2. And, this one right here says 3 remake wasn't great. I don't know. But I think Resident Evil 4 was amazing. Also, oh my gosh. Look at this. Related article. Resident Evil 4 no longer sexualizing its women is a good thing. This already tells me enough about the website that I'm about to read from, because Jesus fucking Christ. All right, continuing on, let's go ahead and continue reading the article. So this says, Resident Evil 5 is the next logical step given its mostly iterative sequel with many of the same gameplay mechanics and set pieces. It also has a mandatory co-op, even if you're playing alone, removing what little horror was left by giving you characters with twice the firepower. They also go on to say that it influenced Gears of War and that, it just basically had a little bit of different mechanics and stuff. But here is the thesis statement. The game's legacy is also internally tainted by its racism. Intentional or not, it's there. Oh my God. This is going to be good. So let's go ahead and continue the article. And this person gives a little bit of a backstory. So they say, I was still in primary school when Resident Evil 5 was first unveiled. Damn, I feel old. I was already in college. So my understanding of racism and the historical role it plays in global socio-political culture was fairly lacking. I just wanted to murder zombies with my friends. It didn't matter what color they were or what country I happened to be in. The infection must be cleansed, and not putting my upgraded shotgun to use would be a tragic waste. But even back then, there was something uneasy about how the game depicted Africa and the awkward marketing eager to focus on a white man waltzing into an impoverished town only to murder its inhabitants. Yeah, that's where we're going. So they're looking at the optics. They're forgetting the plot location, the plot elements, the fact that it's infected zombies. Resident Evil 4 took place in Europe or Spain. Are we saying that it was racist against Spaniards? But yeah, this is where they're going. That it's all African people getting shot by a white man. That's where they're going with this. So this says the trailer that dropped in '05 has deliberately vague descriptions of where it takes place or what the game is about. Chris Redfield's back, this time without his bulging muscles, and is seen walking the quiet streets of Shantytown until an unseen horde of infected rushes his position. So, here's the thing though. They go on to talk about the '07 showing, and it says it wasn't nearly as likely with its preview. Without the presence of your young partner Shiva, boils down to a hench white dude beating the shit out of hostile African natives. This caused backlash at the time, with the hasty addition of a mixed-race co-op partner, making it seem like Capcom was trying its best to save face and pave over its unfortunate positioning. So they're giving their opinion of the trailer that came in '07. I don't remember that much of a backlash. In fact, I don't think this whole race culture war was much of a thing back in '07. This is like something that's within the last 10 years or so. So I don't remember in '07 some kind of huge backlash over this. Now, yeah, okay. To the outsider, maybe the optics of the trailer don't look that great, that flattering. But then if you look and actually care to look into the plot and stuff, it's not like some school shooter going somewhere and killing a whole bunch of Africans or something. You know what I mean? It's a game about zombies. So this says, you can argue that a game set in Africa is, of course, going to result in people of color being infected, which is a valid point. So I get it. They're trying to put a discussion, a form of debate, but often at times, like I tell you guys, with this whole wokeness and stuff, it's not so much the message that you're trying to defend, it's the execution that you're going with. You know, you're not exactly the excellence of execution, Bret Hart. You're more like, I don't know, gobbledygooker with the way that you're going. Now this says that view falls away the moment Chris and Shiva venture into the swamplands and are immediately insulted by natives donning bamboo skirts, whose main mode of combat is throwing homemade spears while screaming in a dialect that feels ripped straight out of insensitive 30s cartoons. It's difficult to defend and especially awkward to revisit all these years later. So they're talking about the actual like natives that I guess are not infected. Well, guess what? In some parts of the world, natives that have no contact with actually like modern society, they attack, they kill people, they eat people. So that is a realistic thing right there. If you were to crash land in, I guess, I can't remember what that island is, but there's a tribe where these people have been like an uncontacted civilization since for hundreds of years, they will legitimately kill and eat you. So again, they're the ones making a racial thing about it because of skin color, but they're the ones that don't want skin color to be a factor. So the only people promoting racism in this instance are you, is the person writing this opinion piece. If skin color doesn't matter, why is it mattering when you're talking about a game and you're the one making it racist, instead of thinking, okay, it's natives that are like basically savage, uncivilized natives that are going to attack anybody. They don't care what the person looks like. Okay? So, anyways, continuing on. This is in '09, Africa had some of the world's foremost universities situated in bustling urban metropolises, yet Capcom decided to portray its people not as modern workers, but as savages and stereotypical tribal gear. It's a trope as inaccurate as it is insensitive. Africa is a sprawling continent, and Resident Evil 5 views its singular entity with a few worthwhile characteristics to underpin the people and cultures who call it home. It's a generic and offensive interpretation of the continent. Perhaps his dodgy misstep would fly in '09, but to remake it and fail to acknowledge how problematic it remains borders on complete ignorance. So they're saying that this game cannot be made in, 2 years from now, 2025. I think the only people that would be going to fit about it are a whole bunch of woke fucking crybabies that don't understand the plot and premise of the game. You know, even right here, you can see that they're kind of backing out of it, but still trying to push their thing. I'm not saying a potential remake of Resident Evil 5 needs to abandon Africa entirely, only that major revisions are required for it to stand the test of time. The fourth is campy and far removed from reality in ways that allow it to lean into charm and eccentricity, while Resi 5 is far more grounded, realistic, and oddly graphic in its visual execution. So I don't think I don't think it's racist. Just for shits and giggles, though, I don't have an idea about the timeline that Resident Evil 5 is supposed to take place in. So in here, Resident Evil 5, according to this, takes place in 2009. I don't think it's racist. I think it's just a depiction of, you know, they moved it to natives being attacked. Again, in real life, if you go somewhere where there's actually like natives that you get into their territory, they're going to kill you. They're not going to ask questions regardless of what your skin color is or not. I think, you know, I think this person was just making a mountain out of a molehill for attention, but no, Resident Evil is not racist. Resident Evil 5 will be remade. And yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.